How do you handle anxiety and depression around the holidays? Let's talk Mended Light. Yes, people sing it's the most wonderful time of the year, but for a lot of us, it is stressful and it is sad. So how do we manage and make the most of it? I'm going to answer some questions that were submitted by our Mended Light community on this subject. And if you'd like an even deeper dive, you can sign up for our membership site where Alicia and I are doing a course, Surviving and Thriving During the Holidays. And the link for that, which is 50% off a monthly membership, is down below. Great gift. So let's dive in. My greatest challenge is not being able to get presents all the time for people because I'm so poor, though I do try my best to. Also trying to still feel loved, even though I hardly ever get any gifts from anyone during the holidays or my birthday, which is 2 weeks after Christmas. Related question that somebody else submitted that I'm going to answer concurrently with this one. Money, inflation certainly doesn't help things. Okay, let's address, there's 2 parts to this. One is not being able to afford gifts for people in your life, and the other is the sadness of not receiving a lot of gifts for Christmas or for your birthday. It sounds like if you're not receiving gifts and you're not giving gifts, then maybe that's kind of how things are in your circle, and that's okay. My best friend growing up, he and I were still very close, and we give each other every year for our birthdays the exact same gift. And that gift is, I exonerate you from having to get me a gift. I give that to him, he gives that to me, and it's wonderful. Because I don't have the stress of shopping for him, and he doesn't have the stress of shopping for me. Now, for some of you, that sounds really lame, but it really works for us. If you're not able to give gifts because of poverty, recognize that it's about the love, not the gift itself. Alicia and I spent the better part of a decade after we got married struggling financially. I was fresh out of school. Therapy actually doesn't pay very much, especially if you're working for somebody else. I took jobs teaching classes in the community. I donated, you could probably see, I mean, that's years old now, but I donated plasma because the extra $200 a month made a huge difference in keeping the lights on and putting food on the table. I donated so much that it's now a permanent scar, and they couldn't get the needle in towards the end because there was so much scar tissue from so much plasma being donated. Like I understand lean times, and I'm not saying I know what you're going through. I'm just saying I've been there. And I'll never forget one Christmas, my brother and sister-in-law, it was a really lean year for them. And so what they did for gifts is they gave every member of the family a handwritten letter, a love letter, essentially, not a romantic love letter, but a family love letter. To every member of the family, they wrote an individualized letter about why they loved that person and what they appreciated, and expressed gratitude and shared memories. And I'm getting choked up just thinking about it, because they were eking by, but it was the most beautiful gift I've ever received at Christmas. And it wasn't something they bought. If you can afford pen and paper, you can expose your soul to somebody. You can give them something that matters more than any toy, any tie, any pair of socks, anything that you might get, any electronic. If you're creative and artistic, create something for them. If I had a family member who couldn't make ends meet, and every year they gave me a letter of what they loved about me and appreciated about me that year, that would be the best gift. I still consider that to be the best gift I've ever received for Christmas.
It's the best gift ever.
So don't get caught up in it has to be expensive, it has to be nice, or it has to be something. And don't get caught up in, well, if I buy something cheap, then that means it's pathetic. Do something thoughtful, whether it costs you money or not. One year for Christmas, I gave Alicia a coupon book, and I wrote coupons of things that I would do for her. And I cut it out, and I stapled it together, and I wrote a different coupon for each thing. And all of these were things that I could do extra work around the house, a 2-hour foot massage, cleaning the toilet, you name it. And she could cash that in anytime for your family members. Here's a coupon book. And here's, I'm going to do your dishes, right? And when you're visiting, sometimes they can say, hey, I'm cashing that in. And they'll love that and you'll love that. So that's what I would recommend, honestly, something thoughtful and something where you can give of your time and of your energy and of your heart and soul. And if you're struggling because you don't get gifts on your birthday or for Christmas, voice the need. Voice the need. Keep in mind what they're able to do and say, hey, I don't expect an expensive gift, but I would love if you and I could go for a hike, right, as a Christmas gift, or if you and I could go to the library together, or if you could take me out to help me get my groceries, or whatever. Just express, I'd like something from you to show how much you care for me. And then you can model that by doing some of the things I talked about. So I don't know why, but I keep having high expectations of what I might get for Christmas, which of course causes me to be disappointed and ungrateful for my family's efforts. I keep silently asking myself, why can't I grow up? It doesn't help that my birthday is on almost a week before Christmas. A lot of birthdays around Christmas. Strip the shame from this scenario and the guilt from this scenario, the question, why can't I grow up? Get to what's really going on here. It's not about that you want them to get you something nice. That's what's on the surface of it. What it really is you're attaching how much they care about you and perhaps your worth as a person to what they spend on you. And when they don't spend a lot on you, you feel like they don't care as much, or that they don't see you as worth as much, or maybe that you don't see you as worth as much. And that's why you can't grow up. You clearly have grown up. You clearly do recognize that this isn't something to put a lot of stock in, like getting the nicest gifts for Christmas, but emotionally, it's still there. Rationally, it's not. Rationally, you've moved on. Emotionally, you still have that need. That's why it's still there. Don't punish yourself by saying, why can't I grow up? Recognize that you want to feel loved and you want to feel that you have worth. And then ask yourself, are there other ways that my family and friends show me that they love me? Are there other ways that they show me my worth? And if the answer is yes, awesome. And if the answer is no, then the question becomes, what can I do to show myself my worth? What can I do to give that love to myself? My greatest challenge as someone who goes to therapy for stress management and some control issues is enjoying the season while I plan. I get far too wrapped up in if I'm far behind in decorating, keeping up with traditions, getting everyone I know presents, and other commitments to sit back and take in the idea that it's the most wonderful time of the year. The holidays are a stressful checklist for you. You are not doing what serves you, what supports you, or what nurtures you. You're doing what you think you're supposed to do, either because others put that pressure on you, or you put that pressure on you, or some combination of the two. The question to ask yourself then is, how much of this is actually necessary? Yes, okay, I am doing all these traditions for the people around me, and I'm doing a lot of work to make them happen. But what's the trade-off? Well, the trade-off is that I bark at them, that I yell at them, that I'm controlling. The trade-off is that I'm stressed, that I'm upset, that I'm irritable, that I'm anxious. So yes, we had the turkey and stuffing, damn it, but we didn't have a lot of joy. I would say simplify and streamline and ask yourself, what is your intention? To set an intention for the holiday season. And if the intention is I'm going to connect with people, if the intention is I'm going to relax and enjoy the season, then don't be afraid to say either one, say goodbye to some traditions, or two, to voice to family members, look, guys, I run myself ragged every year and I don't enjoy the holidays. I feel stressed and I feel sad and I feel angry and I don't want to feel that way. So here's what I'm willing to do this year. Here's the amount of time and energy I'm willing to put into the holidays. And then I don't want to be an irritable, anxious, stressed person for you or for me. So these are my limits, which means that this tradition or that tradition are going to fall by the wayside if you're expecting me to do them. If you want to pick up the baton or pick up the slack so that that tradition can continue onward, I totally welcome that. Or if you want to work out something where you're all more actively involved, so it doesn't feel so much like me while you guys are relaxing and enjoying yourselves, then let's work something out. Don't be afraid to strip away traditions that aren't serving you, that are good on paper, or they're all good, but there's too many of them. And when you try and do them all, it just creates this negative home environment and this negative space here and here. Don't be afraid to pick and choose and say, you know what, instead of doing a dozen of these traditions, we're going to do 3. We're going to do 3 and we're going to go all in, and then we're going to relax and we're going to enjoy each other. Don't be afraid to do that. Strip away the guilt and the shame and do what best serves and supports you and the people you love. Afterwards, knowing that after being around wonderful family, I go back home alone to face a sunless January and February. It ends up coloring the whole 2 weeks of festivities between Christmas and New Year's, because I know being alone in the 2 darkest months of the year is coming. And the togetherness makes the aloneness more acute. Seasonal affective disorder. Seasonal affective disorder, a lot of you know what it is. For those of you who don't, when it's colder and there's less sunshine and it's darker, it has an effect on a lot of people's psycho-emotional state. They experience a type of depression. And my personal opinion, because I'm not somebody who likes cold weather, I'm from Arizona, guys. I like the heat. I like to be warm. I would rather be uncomfortably hot than painfully freezing, right? Which isn't to say I don't enjoy bundling up and all the traditions, but I've got this theory. And the theory is that part of the reason we celebrate the holidays when we do is to dupe ourselves. Because we sing these songs like Winter Wonderland and Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, and Baby It's Cold Outside. And all of this romanticizes winter. Like, yes, we'd like it when it's cold outside. We'd like it when water freezes.
The cold never bothered me anyway.
We like having no sunshine because it means our Christmas lights can be up longer. Yay! And then at about January 2nd, we all go, what the hell? We all go, wait a second. Why did I think this was so great? Now, I'm mostly kidding. It's just an observation, like a Seinfeld type observation I'm making here, but there's a kernel of truth to it. Here's what I would say. Yes, dark and cold are coming, and they don't have the frivolity of Christmas lights and the holiday music and time with families and friends to lighten all of that. And it can be hard. It can be difficult to enjoy things when you know what's just around the corner. So what I would do, and we did a podcast, Alicia and I did a podcast on this book. For our membership site, we did a podcast on this book called Tiny Habits. And in that book, Tiny Habits, they talk about something called a pearl habit. And a pearl habit is when something unpleasant happens, a specific unpleasant thing happens, that I use that as a prompt to do something that I enjoy. When they insult me, I go to Cold Stone or I go to Dairy Queen and I treat myself to something. Little did they realize they just gave me a gift. Or when I get a text that's unpleasant from somebody, that's a prompt that I'm going to go watch an episode of The Office.
It's a Christmas miracle.
And so you build these pearl habits so that when unpleasant or negative things happen, that is a prompt to do something for yourself that you enjoy. And then these negative, unpleasant things start to be associated with pleasant and good things. I think that's what we do with Christmas, and that's what we do with Hanukkah and solstice. And the fact is, we can do that anytime. It's just built out for us in December. In December, society around us says, here's what you do. So what can you give yourself to look forward to in January and February and March? What can you give yourself so that it's not just darkness and sadness and cold, but when you feel cold, what are you going to do? I'm going to have hot chocolate. When you feel like it's super dark, what are you going to do? I'm going to turn on my white lights, right? And make it all bright and beautiful around my house. I'm going to do that after Christmas. Like, I don't know what you do, but build out pearl habits for yourself so that you're not just thinking how gloomy it's going to be, but you have things you're looking forward to in January and February and March. I'm the youngest child, but I'm an adult now, and I recognize that I can't spend too much time around my family for the sake of my mental health. Setting my boundaries, limiting the time spent together, choosing when I'll see family, and leaving when I want. And during the guilt tripping afterwards is challenging, even though I know it is the right thing for me. So we go back to something I talked about in the previous video on family drama and judgments, which is The judgments of others have everything to do with their prejudices, their biases, and their intolerances. They have nothing to do with you, your actual worth, or the validity of your decisions. So when they guilt trip you, you can say to them, I don't expect you to understand what I'm going through. I don't expect you to understand what my needs are or how all of this affects me. But I do, and I'm going to take care of me. And then if you want, you can throw in a little nudge, a little guilt trip of your own. I don't expect you to understand all this, but I hope that you would try. I don't always think that doing a guilt trip back at somebody is the best way to go, but for whatever reason, I feel like that would be a good advice in this case. So take that for what it's worth. So I've been answering some of your questions about anxiety and depression and sadness around the holiday season. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Alicia and I have an entire video course on our membership site called Surviving and Thriving During the Holidays, where we answer and deep dive questions like, how do I manage airport and travel anxiety as well as the chaos and overstimulation of the season? How do I manage the hustle and bustle of trying to have the perfect Christmas all during a time of year when I feel just like curling up under the covers? Seasonal affective disorder with the dark and cold. Seasonal depression due to the lack of light. I usually get depressed when it gets colder and closer to the holidays. My biggest challenge is feeling completely drained from the amount of large gatherings happening back to back. I need more time with myself to recharge in between, but feel like I'm being rude when I leave to another room for a while when I'm overwhelmed by people. I feel like the magic of the holidays is gone and I don't know how to get it back. Again, Alicia and I answer those questions in that course. You can get our online video courses with new lessons rolling out every other week. You can get our weekly podcast and our monthly live Q&As as part of our membership site. And right now, a monthly membership is 50% off. It's a great little gift. Link is in the comments below. What advice do you have for some of these questions that I asked today? What experience do you have with navigating anxiety and depression during the holidays? Let us know in the comments below because we love it when you all interact and support and learn from one another. What questions do you have for me on this subject? Let us know. Until next time, folks, keep shining. We need your light.